Josh, it's good to have you on, and I think we're all excited about the NFL draft. But this year, more than most, just because, hey, we're just clamoring for something that's somewhat of a live sporting event. I'm going to
Hmm.
be tuned in, man. I'm going to be tuned in the entire draft. I'm looking forward to seeing where some of these guys go, though, because this is a year that we didn't have a chance to scout like we normally would. We didn't have a chance to have the pro day where a guy can improve on his combine numbers. So I truly think this is going to be a year where these guys go off tape.
Hmm. I agree. I agree. I mean, it's been such an odd, last couple months leading up to the draft, and thank God we had the Senior Bowl and the NFL Combine, and we went through this process, so we know it well. It's just it's there's so much leading up, interview wise, travel wise, especially these top guys. I mean, they are all over the country going to visit teams and organizations, and none of that was done last minute this year. So this is going to be an eventful draft because there's a lot of question marks out there. I think the top 10 or 20 are guys we know are going, but after that, man, this thing's a free for all.
When you look at the quarterbacks, we know Joe Burrow is going to go number one overall to the Cincinnati Bengals. Who's the next guy for you? I know you've been high on a couple of the guys still on the board. Tua Tagovailoa. I know
Sure.
you like Herbert. They're from Oregon as well. Jordan Love is a guy that some people think's a project. Some people think he has, some talent where if he sits a year, maybe he can thrive in the NFL. How do you rank these guys behind Burrow?
I'm Tua, Herbert, and Love in that order. I mean, I like Tua a ton because he's super competitive. He's super gifted, quick release, quick feed. He's not super magician guy like Russell Wilson. He's not as elusive as a guy like Russell, but man, he can get some things done. I like him inside the pocket. I like him on play action. I like him on his rollout game. There's a lot that he's done well, and his numbers say a ton, and he had a lot of talent around him. But to practice against Nick Saban and that defense for 3 years, I mean that's a lot that you can put on your resume. To be honest with you, there isn't much that he hasn't seen, and they're so loaded on both sides of the football at Alabama. Much like LSU, he's getting to practice against the best players in the nation. You can't get much closer to the NFL than you can just being in a practice session at Alabama on a weekly basis and in the off season working out with these guys. So I like his resume better than I do some of the others, just based on the experience that he gained in practice sessions. Herbert, of course, with at Oregon, Mario Cristobal's got a good defense he installed last year, but he's played against Pac-12 defenses. They're not near as strong and physical and as fast as SEC defenses. And then Jordan Love plays in a conference that is definitely plays second and third fiddle to those two. So I think those guys are a year or two away from really being good at the next level. I think Tua is going to be ready for the physicality, the speed, and everything that an NFL defense or managing an NFL offense has to do with it.
Josh, how much does the Wonderlic score scare you for Tua, a 13? I mean, what goes into that? Because when you watch Tua Tagovailoa on the field, it looks like he knows exactly what he's reading. He knows that, it looks like he knows exactly where he wants to go with the football. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't try to fit it maybe in windows he shouldn't. So when you see a 13 on a Wonderlic from a top quarterback, is that just a red flag, or is that something where you should go to another route maybe because of it?
Yeah, normally it would be. I think he's got such a feel for the game, and he's done it at the highest level that you can possibly do it. And again, his resume is great: 87 touchdowns, I think 11 picks in college in his career in 3 years, and so he's just been a phenomenal player. So if he was a borderline player, if he was a fourth, fifth round guy, talent wise, and he didn't have as much hype around him, then I think it would really hurt him. You could drop from the fourth to the seventh or the sixth out of the draft because of that Wonder League. But I think he's had such a great career that and such a feel for the game, and you can see that on film. The tape doesn't lie. I like him.
Josh, any second tier guys you like at the quarterback position? That group of Jake Fromm, Jacob Eason, Jalen Hurts, even an Anthony Gordon from Washington State?
Yeah, I like Gordon a lot. He's thrown a lot of balls, much like Minshew did, and
Yeah.
played well his rookie year. I like that. A lot of the game is on their shoulders at Washington State. If you're the quarterback there, you're going to throw it 55 times a game, kind of like we did in high school at Evangel. And the whole game's on your shoulders. So I like that for a kid like that who's going to be drafted late. He'll have a chance to be a backup and hopefully stick around for a while. Nate Stanley, he's a big, strong kid. have a buddy, Tony Racioppi's working with him in the Northeast in New Jersey, and he really, really likes him. And if he likes him, I like him. To be honest with you, I hold him in high regard, the quarterback coach. So I like Stanley a lot. I think at Iowa he wasn't able to do a ton to showcase, what a passer really looks like. But he could be a guy that could be a backup for a long time in the NFL, maybe get a shot one day. And I do like Jalen Hurts, man. He reminds me of Dak Prescott for some reason. I think he's strong, he's physical, he's determined. He's a powerful runner. He's hard to bring down. He's played in 2 great conferences, played on 2 great teams. Of course, he's had to practice against Alabama, too, for all those years. I mean, and he's won big games, national championship type games, playoff games. So I like a guy like that.
Josh, I want to ask you about one more quarterback before we get to the LSU guys, a guy that you've seen up close and personal many times in high school, at Calvary, in Shreveport, Shay Patterson. Of course, he started at Ole Miss, ended his career at Michigan. The tools are there, but the production never caught up in college. Is Shay a guy that you think can go in and impress somebody and make a team?
Well, I like his athletic ability. I always have. I think he's had a lot of highs and lows. You kind of mentioned the fact of that. But, I think he can make a team. I think he can be a backup. He can be a very serviceable guy. I think he has some upside if he can get in the right system. He's done a little bit of everything. He's done the spread. He's done the RPO. He's done the pro style. So he's had to learn a lot of different things in college that, when you typically go to school, you learn one offense and you kind of stick, you're with it for 4 or 5 years. And he's had to be in 4 different systems. I mean, so hopefully, down the line, he'll get more kind of, in tune with what he's got to do. And I think that's a big part of being effective as a quarterback, is just understanding what you're supposed to do, being comfortable, understanding where the ball's got to go. I mean, that's why guys like Breeze and Brady have been so successful. They know exactly where they're supposed to go with the football on every play, and they can coach it. And I think Shay's just been behind the 8 ball the whole time in college, not knowing really what he's doing back there.
Catching up with former LSU quarterback Josh Booty here on Hanging with Hester. Josh, let's talk about the LSU guys in the draft, a possibility of a new record. Ohio State has that record at 14 from one draft. I believe it was from 2004. LSU looks like they could have up to 16 guys drafted in this 2020 NFL draft. What would that do for the program? Obviously, that helps, in recruiting, but to have that record, that doesn't just play, in my opinion, for 1 year. You hold that record until it gets broken.
Yeah, it's a huge recruiting tool. There's no doubt. I mean, they'll market the heck out of that, and they should. I mean, it's like winning a national championship. It's like getting that Heisman Trophy winner this year and putting him on the cover of all your publications and marketing material. I mean, you can recruit to that, and that's a solid tool. I mean, I think in the last 10 years, Alabama and LSU have been so far ahead of everybody else. Ohio State kind of sitting on in that 3 spot, but it's just done wonders for the program in terms of, DBU, tailback U. Now we got a quarterback that's going to go first overall and won the Heisman Trophy. 16 guys at the combine and 16 guys drafted. It's just a huge attest to the state of Louisiana, the region, and then the coaching staff and those players that come out of our great state. I think there's a lot of great football played, and it's starting to really show up on. It's shown up on Sundays for a long time, but it's really showing up now.
He is Josh Booty, former LSU quarterback, got drafted not only in the NFL draft, but the Major League Baseball draft as well. Good enough to join us here for a couple minutes on a Wednesday afternoon. Josh, always appreciate the time, brother.
Thanks for having me, Hester. I appreciate it, bud. Y'all have a good day.